Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and I just want to say how exciting it is to be in a room full of people who absolutely understand that this is absolutely a system that's rigged against us and what we are fighting against, and we have an amazing candidate that we are going to fight for. This campaign is about all of us. This is our campaign, and this is
people's heads.
And this is about building political power for the people. It's about having an elected representative who will put human rights, social justice, and climate action first. A representative who is not bought and influenced by AIPACs, super PACs, and lobbyists, who will pull that lever of power in Congress and vote in the interests of the people, not in the interests of the corporations. Our campaign is for the many, not the money. And we have an amazing panel of featured speakers today because the key to this campaign is working with community to build our platforms, our positions, and support legislation with leaders and activists fighting for the people. After our speakers, we'll hear from Sean, our candidate himself, and then we'll do a quick break and have a Q&A. We can have some more snacks. But before I introduce our first speaker, I should probably introduce myself. I'm Ashley, and it is an honor and a privilege to be Sean's campaign manager. You might not know me. I'm pretty new to the political landscape, but I am not new to building success from the ground up. And I'm not new to understanding systemic abuse and injustices. I'm also not new to believing in human rights. Now, I knew our system was broken, but as an elder millennial, I didn't see a path to make a difference. I'm an only child. I grew up in lower middle class in Washington State, so I wanted to make money, take care of my family, have a family. So at 22, I moved to LA, and eventually I got into tech recruiting. And I didn't even know what a tech recruiter was or what they did. I just knew that they made a lot of money. and so I wanted to have a family and be able to take care of my own. So I dove in, and recruiting can be a soul-sucking, greedy job. It is a numbers game, but I genuinely cared about my candidates and my clients, and eventually I was successful. I helped grow careers and companies, and I was even recruited to work for Netflix. I don't recommend it, by the way. So during the Great Recession, tech recruiters are some of the first to go, obviously. Yep. So I lost my job, my car was repossessed, but my boyfriend at the time was a videographer and an editor, and I thought, why not turn this into a company? I was just doing this for the giants. Why not do it for us? Why not directly employ people, give them fair wages and exciting work? So I dove in. I learned the ins and outs of video production. And the first interview we did was with the lead singer of Imagine Dragons, and my first edit was on Wheel of Fortune. And eventually I turned our company into a scalable business marketing luxury yachts in Florida. But when the relationship ended, he took the business. But again, it was a success from the ground up. Now, both my parents have passed away, and I never made enough to be any kind of provider. I couldn't even afford the funeral. And like a lot of millennials, I can't imagine ever being able to afford to have kids of my own. So there's a lot I'm skipping over in this story. But the big plot twist, and what brings me here today, happened May 2024. I was living in Hollywood, working to build out a marketing team for a fashion company, and in my research, scrolling on TikTok, I see Palestine. 7 months after October 7th. and I was devastated. I could not believe that I had been so unaware. How could I not know? How could I be so self-involved that I wouldn't know that a genocide is happening? But then I realized I'm the capital of dystopia and distraction, and nobody around me knew anything that was going on. So it was devastating, and the more I learned, the worse it was. So I started on TikTok. What do we do? And then I got this comment, and someone said, "Have you heard of Jill Stein?" No? Who is Jill Stein? What is the Green Party? What else don't I know? So I learned as much as I could about her platform and the party, and I understood this was what systemic change could look like if the people only knew. I dove in again, started and knew nothing. I volunteered for the campaign, I found my people, and we did as much organic outreach as we could. And after the election, I started volunteering with the Green Party of California, alongside Sean, Nassim, Audra, Gabe, amazing, dedicated people. And whatever skills I could bring and can bring to the table, I have and will with my whole heart. I'll never look away. I'll never stop talking about Palestine or systemic abuse. So when Sean asked me to be his campaign manager, it was a no-brainer. He's never, ever wavered on his positions. He's authentic, intelligent, curious, and dedicated, and solutions-oriented. Sign me up. Let's win this.
Let's win this!
So I'll do everything in my power to help make this campaign a success, to help build this movement, grow this momentum, and build political power for the people. And we have town halls, we have meetups, volunteer meetups coming up, and more in-person events. And I hope you all join us in spreading the word, because it's going to take all of us to break through the media blackouts and the silencing and the distractions. So today we're going to start with one of our special guests, who is Frank Nilsson. Are you ready? Yeah? Okay. So he has just started. He's going to be running for Congress for District 16 near San Mateo, and just give us like a little bit of a rundown of what we can expect in solidarity.
My name is Frank Nilsson. I am running for the 16th District of California against the current representative, Sam Ricardo. Basically, my background, I've been living in the Bay Area, well, the South Bay Area, for 28 years. I've been living in my district, in the 16th District, for like about the last 7 years. I am not a polished politician sort of person. I am a field service engineer. I fix semiconductor equipment. But the reason that I'm running is I noticed in the 2024 election, none of the representatives or none of the candidates who are running for the 16th District were willing to discuss the genocide in Gaza. Nobody wanted to discuss anything that Israel was doing or Palestine or the United States facilitating any of this. You know, this is career suicide for all of those guys. And I thought it was outrageous in a district like ours to just completely ignore such a radically important issue, an issue where, you know, we are all being implicated in what's going on because, you know, there's no way to vote for anybody who opposes it. So looking around and seeing that nobody else was running on a anti-genocide platform in the 16th District, I decided I would do it. So. You know, I am running, if I was elected, I would call for the end of funding to Israel, obviously the end of all transfers of weapons to Israel until the genocide ends and there's a ceasefire. And I would also like the end of the political cover of the United States in the United Nations Security Council, where the United States vetoes every single resolution for a ceasefire or basically anything that mentions Israel at all. Oh boy. So, I mean, while I was busy, writing out my notes and everything today, looking at the news, I saw that the news for Sunday, in one incident, the Israeli forces killed 81 people in Gaza who were trying to take flour from the United Nations, the UN World Food Program. So these trucks were entering Gaza from Israel, people trying to get flour, 81 people killed. You don't get 81 people killed in a crowd without soldiers using machine guns and explosives. I mean, if I compare this to historical events, the Sharpeville massacre in South Africa was 69 people. That is in history books. It has a name. No one's ever going to name what happened today. And the reason for that is, the United States, among all these other things, we give them the ammunition, the explosives to do this, but also we suppress this in the media so that nobody finds out about it. Other platform positions that I have, I've written here, does this up here now? Yes. So I am a Green Party candidate, if the Green Party will have me, I'm also a socialist, which at least is something I don't have to ask anybody else about. I can just say that if I want to. So, as a socialist, I'm just going to go straight to the economic part of socialism as I see it. When people ask me what does socialism mean, and they say, "Oh, you mean like Canada?" No. Socialism essentially is I believe that workers should own and control the businesses that they work in. That is, everything else is an implication, but that is it. So for my platform, end all U.S. military aid to Israel and other regimes committing war crimes. I support an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, and well, I've written Gaza in here, but also all occupied territories. I will say around Israel. It would also be nice if they would stop bombing Iran and Syria and Lebanon and everybody else. Close foreign U.S. military bases and end United States imperialism around the world. And redirect military spending for domestic needs. In healthcare, I support, I'll call it Medicare for all. One day we can come up with an amazing name that everybody likes, but basically, I'll just say I was born in Canada, I'm a naturalized U.S. citizen. At least in Canada, you can go to the hospital and you can get treated and you don't become bankrupt. This is a much better system. The whole rest of the world understands this. I also support a 4-day work week. I think we've had 100 years of productivity gains, and our productivity is up here, and we still work exactly the same amount. I think that's a little bit silly. I support worker cooperatives.
5-day pay, right?
Oh yeah, full.
5-day pay.
Oh, clearly, yes. And I support taxing wealth directly and taxing financial speculation to eliminate poverty. Housing is a human right. We should end homelessness through giving people homes. It works. Public power and a green future. I think that we should, I don't really know what the state name for this, but we should nationalize the energy grid. We need to get rid of PG&E. We should end fossil fuel extraction and subsidies. For the education and public empowerment, forgive student debt, make college and trade school affordable, fund public schools equity, and support universal child care and paid parental leave. And then finally, I'll just say for democratic issues, we need to ban corporate donations and PAC money. Ranked choice voting would be great, especially for the Green Party. And we need to abolish the Electoral College, which is totally simple and not hard to do at all. So that is my platform. Oh, and what I need from all of you. This is a shoestring budget campaign. There's basically no budget other than I have a website now. I've managed to figure that out. I'm going to need volunteers to get signatures to get ballot access. Probably need social media outreach help because I don't know anything about TikTok or Instagram. I've been avoiding them. and then strategy support. You know, folks who know more about this than me, I would love to hear what sorts of things would be smart. Good things to do. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Power to the people. So next we have our featured speaker, Brian Roeder. He is the co-founder of Never Again Moss Landing activist group. And if you haven't heard about Moss Landing, the fires there, it's probably because they called it Moss Landing fires, and it sounds like a tiny little issue, but these are lithium fires, and he is extremely knowledgeable, extremely tapped into the community. Please welcome Brian Roeder.
As he said, I'm Brian Roeder, and Frank, I love everything you stand for there, man.
Thanks.
Just makes so much sense, right? Just
Right.
pretty simple.
Makes sense to me.
The world that we should be living in, right? So Sean's been coming to a lot of the things we've been doing since January 16th, when the Moss Landing Battery Energy Storage System facility basically burned to the ground. There's a lot more batteries there, but the main facility, which was 300 megawatts, burned up. Now, some of you guys might have heard about this, right? I mean, it was on the news. And basically, it started on a Thursday, Monday. A bunch of people came out and said the fire was out and everything's okay. So it was a fire, right? It's not a fire. They happen. Problem is, there's a lot of stuff in those batteries that's pretty bad. Really bad. And the Monday after the fire started, a group of us citizens just got together, and one of us, Tanya, said, I want to get the community together because there's a lot of concern about what just happened. So over in sunny little Prunedale, over off of 101 north of Salinas, we met at the Grange, and 200 people showed up, 700 more were online. And I offered to facilitate because I've done it. And I kind of figured that people would show up and be pretty pissed and pretty upset and pretty afraid of what was going on because the fire was still burning. And we thought, well, what if we could shift the energy a little bit towards trying to get involved in a dialogue about what we want to do about it. So that's what we did. And as a facilitator, I helped facilitate that. So I use graphic facilitation tools. I write everything on the wall. Everybody's literally on the same page. And then take it home. I translate it all onto digital copy, send it out to everybody. Well, also during that time, my wife Angie started a Facebook group called the Moss Landing Vista Fire Symptoms Group. And she started on Saturday morning after the fire started, 2 days, and there's over 4,000 people there now. So kind of the question is why, right? Well, first off, a week after, on Thursday, before the rains came in, I looked around and said, I don't see anybody testing what came out of that fire, because we were already starting to get kind of sick. I want to know what we were breathing in, right? And so, dumb luck, an environmental hygienist reached out to me that very same day and said, how can I help? And I said, how do we find out what came out of this plant? I said, well, we use these things called ghost wipes. We'll wipe surfaces. Well, we need people to do it. So we went to our social media and to the emails we'd already collected, and we said, do you want to take samples? And we ended up taking 124 samples between Davenport on the coast, Carmel Valley, and Hollister. One person went all the way up to Fremont for us. It was wild. And those 124 samples showed that there was an enormous elevation in heavy metals. Four in particular we tested for: lithium, cobalt, manganese, and nickel. If those sound kind of gross, they are. And what made it really bad is that we found out since that this fire burned at incredibly high temperatures, because you got to picture that these are massive battery racks and shipping containers in a gigantic building. They used to house the turbines there. And when these things burn, you can't put them out. They generate their own oxygen. You could fire a Tesla into space, pop the battery, and it's going to burn in space, right? That's what these things do. So these enormous number of batteries, just to put it in perspective, one cell is like a AA battery. It's not shaped like it, but it's equivalent. There are over 4.5 million of those kinds of things inside this building. But basically almost all burned out. And there's all kinds of really bad stuff in there. Like I said, these metals are there, but the problem is that it burns so hot it literally vaporized what was in those. Now, we're not just talking about metals, there's also copper, and there's PFAS, and dioxins, and forever chemicals, all that gross stuff we hear about all the time. And that was all turned into a mist that went over a very large area. And that's what our metal testing showed, kind of like canary in the coal mine. Hey, if this is here, everything else was here, right? So, guess what it comes down to? A lot of people got really sick. My wife included. I started to get sick. We abandoned our house on January 28th. We have a 7-year-old son. I'm lucky I'm an old daddy. And we went and got Airbnbs over on the peninsula, and I always say we're lucky we got out. I ended up buying a house over near the ocean. You know, we were able to escape. But there are hundreds of people there who couldn't. This is a community, Royal Oaks, Prunedale area, Castroville, a lot of farm workers, of course. There's this amazing picture of a guy in a tractor and the fires in the background. I mean, the farm community got that Friday off, and we're back in the fields on Saturday. Okay? But also retirees, vets, people with livestock, people on fixed incomes, they're there. Now, it's weird because a lot of people haven't heard about this, and there's a reason for that. If you were healthy while you were inhaling this incredibly toxic mix of stuff, you might have felt like you had a cold. And I've talked to a lot of people who said this felt like maybe they had a cold in the winter. And you were told the fire went out, so I had a cold. Our family had a cold. We all got a cold. Buddy of mine, doctor, we all got a cold. He now knows better. But if you had pre-existing conditions, or bronchial issues, or immuno issues, you got clobbered. So this cloud went out over a huge area, up into Santa Cruz, over into San Juan Bautista area, down into Salinas, but especially where we were. And a lot of people got really sick. And if you go to that Moss Landing Vistra fire symptoms group, you'll see thousands of entries, hundreds of people. So I've been trying to figure out what's going on because I'm involved in Never Again. Kind of the emails drop on my desktop, the website's there, I manage it, among other things. I've talked to a lot of people. I'm kind of a node. I try and connect ideas and people and what things mean. So here's what I've learned. This is an obscenely profitable industry. Obscenely. I can't overemphasize the word of that word. And the problem is that our government authorities to date have largely set aside the protection of health, safety, and welfare, which when you think about it, is really what government's about. When you boil it all down, we want our government to be there to protect us, okay? And they've done it because, as I am, we're very committed to decarbonization. I don't know about everybody here, I'm not going to speak for everybody else. I would like to see us decarbonize. So we're using these battery systems to do it, because during the day, what's happening is corporations are buying the power from our rooftops and other places for pennies on the dollar, because it's an open market. We're making more of it than we can use, and then they store it in these giant facilities, and then at night they sell it back to us for dollars on the penny. And we're paying for all of it. Okay, that's the racket. But the problem is that because we're so committed to this goal of complete decarbonization by 2045, our authorities have set aside regulation of these incredibly, incredibly dangerous technologies. There are some people who say that all of it's bad. I'm not there, but the batteries, for sure, we have proof, are really bad. And all those people I was talking about who thought they had a cold, all of us now who are exposed to this have a loaded gun next to our heads. I say this to people. And it's Russian roulette, because some people are going to get really sick from this. We inhaled it, it's there, it's in us. Our environment, it's there. This stuff's not going away, okay? We just got dioxin testing. I saw the results for the first time 3 days ago. They're not horrible, they're not great. There's some big elevated numbers there. Back to those numbers real quick. Normally the environment looks like the baseline for these metals I mentioned is between 1/2 and 5 parts per billion. We saw as much as 690 parts per billion. That's on the surface afterwards, so that means that was in the air. Will it kill you? We don't know, but it looks like it's pretty bad for people and for creatures. I'm here because Sean's been involved in this from the very beginning. He's come to a lot of things that we've done as a community, He's taken an interest in it. Leon Panetta really hasn't. You know, I think he's doing some stuff behind the scenes, but we've been trying to get our state senator, John Laird, and Leon Panetta, and other people to just show up and talk to us. To hear the pain that's happened in our community and the damages. And they won't. And that bugs me. Being nice here, that bugs me, right? And, you know, and Sean has. So I'm here supporting Sean today by speaking to tell you what's happened. And you can go to our website, neveragainmosslanding.org, and you'll learn a lot. And there'll be more there as time goes by. And a lot of what we've learned isn't there because I don't have time to get it up on the website. But Sean's been there, and he cares about these things. He's real. And I think that's what we need. We need people who start to reconnect with us because they're us. You know, and Jimmy is the son of what I thought was a pretty good congressman and administrator. But he seems to, I'm sure he's doing some stuff, but he doesn't seem to be president. And I wish he was, because we need help, and I appreciate that Sean is. So I think I've used that 10 minutes. So thank you.
I cannot emphasize enough the importance of knowing that that is going on. It is hidden. It is absolutely, you're not going to hear about it. And we want to spread awareness about the things that are impacting our food, our air, our health, everything. So thank you so much, Brian. Our next featured speaker tonight is Chris Lodgson. Chris is the lead organizer for the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California, otherwise known as CJEC. As our campaign supports reparations for American freedmen, which are long overdue, he and CJEC are out there doing the work. They're at the Capitol. We just talked to him. He was leaving the Capitol in the car, having conversations with us, doing the work. And we need everybody to just be out there doing the work, whether we're talking about lithium fires and spreading awareness, or we're talking about reparations. So, welcome, Chris from CJEC.
First of all, Sean, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you for reaching out. I got some other things to do, but I first want to start here. When you reached out and when I was told by Tiffany, who we both know from CJEC, that you were interested in having someone at your event to talk about something that I've been working on for years, something that's long overdue, as Ashley said, and something that is going to happen. I was honored, so thank you. And I'm looking forward to when you're elected. When you are elected, I'm looking forward to working with you to make some of these things happen at the national and the federal level. Real quick, I want to say one thing to the gentleman who was just speaking also. So part of what I do, I work on reparations, but I also work with folks who are formerly incarcerated who are fighting fires right now. And so I'm also going to lift up the fact that I'm not sure if the fire that you were talking about, there were folks who were formerly incarcerated fighting those fires. But there are many fires where there are folks who are formerly incarcerated fighting those fires. And so I don't want to miss an opportunity to lift those folks up, because I work with those folks. Many of them are young kids, 25, 24, 23, 22-year-old kids fighting them fires every single day. When there are fires. And there's two bills that I want to talk about real quick, Senate Bill 245 and Senate Bill 247 in the Capitol right now, that are specifically geared to those who are fighting fires while they are incarcerated. So that's Senate Bill 245 and 247. Okay, I'm here to talk about reparations though. Okay? So what I'm going to do is three things in the time that I have left. I'm going to talk about where we are now, how we got here, and where we're going. Okay? So where we are now, how we got here, and where we're going. How does that sound? Sound good? Okay, all right. So where are we right now? If you can, we are actually two places in once right now. So if you can, just stop what you're doing. If you got the camera out, please keep the camera up. If you're eating, keep eating. All right. But if you can't, stop what you're doing and listen to the next words I'm about to say. Okay. So every single one of you, every single one of us is living inside of a history book right now. People are going to be reading, writing, talking about what you did, what I did now, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. That is because, to the question, where are we right now? We are closer to reparations in California than we've ever been. Closer to reparations in California, specifically, exclusively, than we've ever been. That's the first place that we are. But we're also in year 2 of, or let me say it this way. So this is the second year here in California where for 2 years now, bills have been introduced in the state capitol that are targeting reparations, and specifically targeting the population we call ourselves as American freedmen. American freedmen is a way to describe the people whose ancestors were emancipated from chattel slavery in this country. So if your ancestors were emancipated from chattel slavery in this country, you and I, we inherited the legal status and the political status we call American freedmen. So American freedmen is just another way to describe people whose ancestors were enslaved and then emancipated in this country. So this is year 2, and there are right now something like between 5 and maybe 8 different bills moving at the state level targeting this particular group of residents. This is the second year, as I mentioned. Last year there was something like 18 different bills moving at the state level targeting this group of residents. And these 2 years are the first time in California's history there's ever been any bills targeting this particular group of Californians. Now, before I say anything else about how we got here, let me say really quickly what I mean when I say the word reparations. So I'm gonna say it, I said it about 5 times already, I'm gonna say it probably another 20 times. When I say the word reparations, I'm talking about physical, tangible, direct, economic, monetary compensation, payment for the work that our ancestors did without getting paid, period. That's what I'm talking about when I mean the word reparations. In 2019 and 2020, California created a reparations task force. Our organization, the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California, CJEC, we actually helped write the bill that created that law. It was called Assembly Bill 3121, and we worked in 2019 and 2020 with then Assembly member, now Secretary of State, Dr. Shirley Weber, to help write the final version of that law. That law created a 9-member task force whose job it was to do 3 things in 2 years. So 3 things in 2 years. First thing this task force was asked to do was study reparations, investigate. Well, wait a minute. I thought there was no slavery in California. Right? Right? I thought there wasn't no slavery in California. Right? Wasn't this a free state? Wrong. Okay? There was slavery in California. I live in Sacramento. There was slavery in Sacramento County as late as the year 1864, a year or so after the Emancipation Proclamation. So a year after Abraham Lincoln says, everybody free, there was still slavery going on in Sacramento County. Okay. So, job number 1, study reparations. Job number 2, educate the public. And the task force did some of that work by going out and doing public hearings, asking organizations like ourselves to go out and do community hearings also. And then thirdly, make recommendations for reparations. What are we going to do? We talk a lot, but what do we do? And to that answer, the task force put out like 100 or so different recommendations. One of those was pay the people back whose money you took from their ancestors. Pay the people back. The other recommendation was who should be eligible for reparations. And of course, the task force said, not in these exact words, but those who would be eligible for reparations in California would be those Californians whose ancestors were enslaved and emancipated from chattel slavery in these United States. That makes sense. There were other recommendations also, and many of those recommendations are now making their way into bills at the state level, and this is how we are now in year 2 of having bills targeting this group of residents. So, that's where we are now. A little bit about how we got here. I'll talk to you about where we're going, okay? And this is where we get more real. I would unbutton my other button, but I'm already unbuttoned as far as I could go. So, I just gotta be honest, we're not going in the right direction. Okay? We're going in the wrong direction. And part of why I'm so excited about Sean's campaign is that I think Sean, when he's elected, can help us move some of this at the national level to help get California back on the right track where we need to be going. But we're not going in the right direction right now here in California. I'll talk quickly about two of the ways that we're not going in the right direction. There are two bills right now that we are very, very, very not happy with that are saying or supposed to be based on California's reparations task force work. The first bill is a bill to do, guess what?
Study.
Come on, there we go. Research, study, nothing. Study, research, all of that means nothing. Okay. There's another bill to do more studying. Okay. So after we did 2 years of studying, some of our senators and assembly people say, you know what we need more right now of is study. Okay. And the second bill is a bill that, in principle, we do agree with. So every group that I know of that's got reparations has some kind of system, some kind of way for people to go and say, I think I'm eligible for reparations. Can you confirm? Can you check? All right. So there's a bill to create something like that. The problem is the bill's really, really bad. So it has some pieces missing that we need, and it has some things in it that we don't need. One, I'll just give you one example. Y'all, I don't even know how you're gonna react to this, and I'm gonna be quiet, so I'm gonna get the mic back to Ashley. So one of the bad problems about this bill is that it puts our reparations confirmation checking process through the California Department of Justice.
Oh, no, boy.
Which is the state's top law enforcement body. Okay. Now, there should not be no reparation system running through law enforcement, period. And I don't want my genealogy data, my claim process. What about the brothers and sisters who got felonies and got records? They're gonna be discouraged from even going over there, right? Okay. So, in principle, yes, but hell no to that. Okay. So we're going in the wrong direction. Here's how you can help. Okay. First thing you can do is help and support Sean. Okay. All right. Help and support Sean. That's the first thing you can do. Second thing you can do is go to our website, www.cjec-official.org. Sign up for our newsletter, sign up for our text message updates, and take action with us when we go to the Capitol. We're in the Capitol building almost every single day. Literally almost every single day we go into that Capitol building and we fighting for something. All right, so we need you there with us at hearings, etc. Okay, that's my time. I want to thank you again, Sean. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to Ashley, Sister Audra. Thank you as well. Much appreciated. And with that, I'll pass it back to you. Thank you.
So if you can't tell, we take things pretty seriously, and we want serious people on our team, advising, talking with us, and getting specific, as well as the broad strokes too, right? So it is an honor, and I'm very excited to introduce our next speaker. I'm not well acquainted yet, but I very much look forward to our future, to working together. And this is Nuha Khan. She is the executive director of the Muslim American Alliance, where the importance of political participation is not lost. So we are thrilled to have her speaking and have her as an ally in discussing political change.
Thank you, Ashley, for that wonderful introduction. And first of all, I want to say thank you to Sean, and again, thank you to Ashley for inviting me here today to speak a little bit about not only my organization, but why it is so important for Muslims to be involved in Sean's campaign. So hopefully my goal after my speaking time is going to get you guys inspired to get out there and get involved in Sean's campaign, hopefully. So a little bit about myself. I just wanted to introduce myself. So I'm the executive director of the Muslim American Alliance. We are one of the only and one of the largest solely focused civically engaged organizations in the Bay Area. We focus primarily on grassroots activism, whether it is social justice activism, such as organizing protests, or political activism, whether it's getting people to run for office, supporting our Muslim brothers and sisters who are running for office, and also our allies like Sean, giving them resources to run for office, Also creating a voter guide. This past election, I was just talking to Sean and Ashley about this last week. We released a voter guide where we had over 100,000 people that it was delivered to. And we used, and primarily our endorsements actually were not from the Democratic and Republican Party, majority of them. Okay, they were majority third-party candidates like Sean, and one of the most successful races that we had was actually Sean's race, where there was my background prior to being prior to being an executive director as a political analyst. So we had, so Sean was able to receive over 6%, about 6%, and we were able to use Sean's victory as an example, as a success story for our organization. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But I want to also thank you all for being here and to witness a path towards political revolution. Oftentimes, when working with the Muslim community, I hear that many of us are fed up with our choice being between the lesser of two evils. And during the past election season, we were able to choose otherwise. To choose voting for candidates that actually represent our ideals and values, especially as a Muslim community. And Sean, as I said, was one of the biggest examples. During the last election cycle, I had the opportunity to get to know Sean through a political lens. And one of the things that always stood out to me from watching his campaign was how he always made grassroots efforts to connect with the Muslim community, and was always an open ear to hear our community's concerns whenever we wanted to discuss our issues. And I like to call it how it is, because then you have Jimmy Panetta on the other table, who has refused to meet with countless Muslim nonprofit and civil rights organizations in his district. And I don't need to tell you how bad it is that we are reaching almost 2 years of genocide and over 80 years of occupation of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. And I don't need to tell you because many of you are educated on how disgustingly involved the United States is in the genocide of our brothers and sisters, and how the United States actively funds this genocide. However, through Sean's campaign, we know that not all hope is lost. We have community members such as Sean who are willing to fight, who are willing to stand up and fight for not only Americans, but our families back home. To me, Sean's campaign is the embodiment of a true American. Someone who loves their country so much to the point where they will not witness a genocide, an ethnic cleansing, and the United States funding another war machine. We know that we as Muslims know that part of being Muslim is taking accountability for our actions. And we know that part of being Muslims is speaking up for truth against an oppressor, being one of the biggest forms of struggle. And we know that that is how we earn God's favor. Participating in Sean's campaign and ensuring that there is a path being created towards collective truth to appear, not just for our community to be bound by two evils, is one way that we can win God's favor, by being civically engaged. We know that our faith commands us to fix injustice not only with our heart, but with our hands and with our mouth, by speaking out against injustice. So to my brothers and sisters, to my Muslim brothers and sisters, and to our allies, I strongly encourage you to get involved with Sean's campaign, to get out there, start knocking doors, start campaigning, start actively showing that we as Muslims are not only, we're not only Muslims, but we are also civic servants, and that we also are civically engaged. So I really hope you all get involved with Sean's campaign, start knocking those doors. Definitely talk to Ashley about that, and inshallah, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
So we have an amazing guest and a surprise speaker here, which is Istafa, and I don't know how to say the last name, so I'm not going to butcher it. But Istafa, who is the the founder and the president of USAMPAC. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Good evening, folks.
Thank you.
Sean is my friend for a long time, right? And then from the Green Party, he is standing on that one. I just want to let you know that last year in the Bay Area, I think we have US MPAC, which I am the founder and the president. We have created one of the largest Green Party event with all the folks, of course, Jill and Butcher were there at that time on that. So we have around almost 500 people who attended that event. And Sean asked me about to speak over here. And honestly, I had a different meeting going on, and I dropped at that meeting last minute. And I said, no, I have to go to Sean's.
Thank you.
So we want Sean to be our next congressman from District 19, right? And we also have from our District 16, right? So this is a great thing. You know, this is the change we want to see. You know, we tried Republican, we tried Democrats. You know, we all seen that what's going on over there. So we want to give a new energy, new thoughts, new ideas, and Sean is the one who can take care of that part. So, Sean, you will be our next congressman.
It's really exciting to have all of you here, but specifically our guest speakers and supporters. We're really excited about all of this. And so for our final speaker, if you don't know Gabe, you will not forget him after tonight. He's not only a key member of our campaign and marketing and branding, he's an elected Green and a champion for education in his position as trustee on the Pajaro Valley School Board. Hopefully I said that okay. Even more, he's a protector and a defender for his community. He is action-oriented just like the rest of us. Even more so outspoken. Very excited to introduce Gabe Medina.
Yay!
So, hola everybody, my name is Gabriel Jesse Martin Medina Ruiz, but you can call me Gabe. Keep it short. And I am the first trustee elected as a Green Party member for Pajaro Valley Unified School District. Beating out a Trump Republican outside, y'all. That man was wild. But, so I'm the son of farm workers. I'm a Chicano. And I represent communities whose lives are shaped by borders, but defined by resistance. Immigration isn't just policy. Where I live, it's personal. It's the voice of elders speaking Mixteco in our clinics. It's the students translating their parents' words at school. It's the fear that rises when a white van slows down near your house, not knowing if it's delivering a package or taking somebody away. And this past week, that fear became real again. Rumors spread across our community. ICE agents were stationed in Monterey, planning raids in Salinas and Watsonville. People panicked, and some pulled their kids from school, others skipped work. And by 7 a.m., I was on San Juan Road with community members, no reporters, just the only elected official out there to protect not only those that were there to protect our community, but to protect those that were protecting our protectors, right? And we have to do that. And our ancestors have always taught us that we need to protect not only our community, but others, because what is done to others will eventually be done to us. So by that evening, also get this, by that evening, I had a school board meeting. And I sat in that meeting where we were asked to vote on expanding local police department into our schools, bringing more law enforcement into schools that really serve undocumented and indigenous youth for my community. And let me be clear, we cannot call ourselves a sanctuary district in the morning and vote to criminalize our students by night. We cannot separate the trauma of ICE raids from the trauma of school policing. It's the same uniform, the same fear, the same message. You don't belong here. And this is where I want to speak directly, not just as a trustee, but as a Chicano. and as someone who refuses to stay in my lane. What's happening in Palestine to our hermanos and our hermanas is also happening here. The checkpoints, the detentions, the surveillance, the disappearances, it's not a metaphor, what's going on, it's a mirror. Palestinian families are being bombed by the US-funded weapons. Children are being buried in rubble. And at the same time, here in Watsonville and other places, we're watching ICE vans pull up to homes, detain parents, and disappear green card holders with no warning and no due process, no humanity. These aren't isolated systems, they are deeply connected. Mahmoud Khalil, a Palestinian green card holder, was detained by ICE without cause. Luis Leon, an 82-year-old Guatemalan grandfather, was secretly deported while renewing his residency. A farm worker in Camarillo fell to his death during an ICE raid just this month. In Mesa Verde and Golden State Annex, detainees are held in for-profit prisons with no timeline, no justice, and no names. So let's name them for what they are. Concentration camps, built to strip people of dignity, funded to break spirits, and designed to disappear. And that's not just happening to them, it's happening to us. It's happening to our Muslim neighbors, to our Arab neighbors, to our Haitian, Dominican, Central American, and undocumented neighbors. And yes, it's happening in our communities too. This is why we must speak the words out loud. From Watsonville to Gaza, oppression looks the same. This country is not just funding genocide abroad, it is practicing displacement right here at home. We cannot be divided into our issues, into our neighborhoods, into our hashtags. Palestinian is not just a foreign policy debate, it is a moral line in the sand for many of us. That is why I'm proud to say that I endorsed Sean Dougherty for Congress. And he's Irish. Us Mexicans love Irish people. Sean doesn't walk the middle of the road while people are being hurt. He stands firmly on the side of justice. He supports a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. He believes in ending ICE's unchecked power. He supports pathways to citizenship, not pathways to prison. And he knows that real school safety comes from trust, not militarization. Sean doesn't treat our communities as political liabilities. He treats us as people worth fighting for. So my fellow Chicanos, Mexicanos, Latinos, and everybody out there, this isn't just about immigration, it's about liberation. It's to our Muslim and Palestinian neighbors, we see you, we believe in you, y te amo también, and we will fight for you all. Our struggles are not the same, but they are bound together by a shared enemy, and that is state violence. And we will not win until we rise together. Let us build a future rooted in dignity, not detention. A future rooted in solidarity, not silence. A future rooted in love for all people across all borders. Viva Palestina! Viva la gente y viva Justica! Gracias, vote for Sean!
I told you what to do.
Cool down, Gabriel.
So we are a ground up campaign, and we are here to help represent all of the people, listen to everybody, and build right here together and get the word out. For the many, not the money, the candidate you've all been waiting for, Sean Dougherty.
Wow, you know, when you put on an event, or at least when I put on an event, all I can think about for the 2 weeks leading up to it is will anybody show up? Not kidding. And so I'm thrilled to see all these people turning out, and I'll admit you have made me cry. It was really touching to hear that my campaign last time meant so much to some people. Yeah, that really meant a lot, Nuha. Thank you. And well, thanks to everybody that came to speak, and thanks to everybody that that came to attend. I mean, as you know, this is a huge district. We have people from Monterey County. Chris came from Sacramento to speak today. Thank you, Chris. That was an incredible talk. And then, yeah, Monterey County. I don't think we've got anyone from San Luis Obispo. No, yeah, I didn't think so.
Santa
That was-
That's a long.
Santa Cruz.
oh, sorry, yes, of course, I'm from Santa Cruz.
Right.
Yeah. Did I not mention that?
Santa Clara County.
Santa Clara County, oh yeah, tons of people from Santa Clara County. Thank you, audience. I really want to thank you, Ashley. I mean, without Ashley, none of this could have happened. You know, the flyers, the booking, talking to the featured speakers. Yeah, so if it had all just been me, well, it just wouldn't have happened. Frankly, I mean, when I ran last time, our campaign maybe did a single event, and it was just a signature gathering event, and a trickle of people came. This is something next level.
You still got 6%.
6.5%, thank you. And so that brings up an important point. This is a huge district. And Jimmy Panetta has been in office for almost 10 years. He was elected in 2016, and he's never had a challenger that was serious enough to be able to knock doors against him, because the district's just too big. It takes so much resources. Well, that ends now with this campaign. Jimmy Panetta has never been this vulnerable. I know that for years when I've talked to my fellow progressive activists, they've been frustrated with him. They haven't felt that he had the right priorities. But what are you going to do? You know, who's gonna challenge him? Who could possibly unseat Jimmy Panetta?
Sean Dougherty.
All of us, we're gonna unseat the bugger.
Yeah, well,
The many.
I can tell you, that's not how people talk about Jimmy Panetta anymore. Now what people say is, we need to get him out of office. It's completely changed, night and day. And it is absolutely because of his support for the genocide in Gaza. And it is so easy to prove that he is following Israel's agenda. You just have to go to fec.gov or opensecrets.org and you can see that's his top donor. He doesn't listen to his constituents, he listens to his donors. That's his top donor. And his constituents know about it. The pro-Palestine activists have known that for a couple of years now, and their friends are learning about it, and more people are learning from them. The word is spreading. Just when we had our Pride Parade in Santa Cruz, spontaneously a crowd broke out into anti-Panetta chants. It was an event that had nothing to do with Panetta, it had nothing to do with me, just people are furious at this man. I like to say, he doesn't belong on Capitol Hill, he belongs at The Hague, right?
Right.
That's our stretch goal, right? We're gonna get this man out of office. I just want people to understand, it really is changing, it really is. Just a year ago, a local group that I've participated in that is actually organized around opposing Panetta, it's called Panetta Vigil, started holding events in the hallway outside of his Santa Cruz office. And we did a round of introductions, and one of the exercises we were sitting around in chairs, and I introduced myself, and then I started saying, we actually can't reason with this guy, he's bought, but I support these actions, I think we need to bring awareness to it. And there were multiple people in that circle of chairs who said, oh, that's so discouraging. I mean, he seems like a reasonable guy. He worked with us on that climate bill recently. One of those people that said that to me a year ago went on to be a plaintiff on the Taxpayers Against Genocide class action lawsuit, which included Panetta as a defendant. So that's how far that activist came in just a year. I think probably everyone in this room is very excited about Mamdani's victory. It showed, I think Zoran Mamdani shows a way forward, a model that we can emulate here in this district. Knocking on doors, social media, people power. A lot of his volunteers came from DSA, so we work through, I'm not saying necessarily DSA, but we work through our various organizations and we stitch together these coalitions. We can do the same thing that he did. He was outspent, 25-1? We need some money, we need to print brochures. That's the main thing I'm concerned about right now. But, yeah, this is a special district. This truly is a unique opportunity. We have a real opportunity for a revolution. This cycle, we can unseat Panetta. We really can. And I think it was already mentioned, in this district, in 2024, my campaign got the highest vote percentage of any Green running for a national office throughout the whole country. This is the strongest Green district that we have. And I want to say, I don't think that's because of me. I consider myself a competent enough guy. It's because of people like Istafa and Nuha. I really think that, I mean, there are other organizations that helped as well, but I think in particular, you know, SAMPAC and MAA, I mean, you really went to bat for me, and I really credit you for getting that 6.5%.
You deserve it.
I want to comment on why I think it's important that I'm running as a Green. A lot of people don't understand it. They say, Sean, why don't you just run as a Democrat? It'd be so much easier for you to win. The reason why I think it's most important for me to run as a Green is that the people voting for me aren't just taking my word for it that I'm not taking dirty money. It's required by my party. That G next to my name on the ballot is a seal of approval. You know that I'm not taking super PAC money or money from corporations. And so you can trust that G means that I'm going to listen to my constituents, not big donors. And it's also worth mentioning that Democrats are the least popular they've ever been. That's just a fact. Going back decades, we've never seen their approval rating so low. And guess what? It's even lower today than it was 6 months ago. They continue to slide because they're so incapable of fighting against Trump. Their voters hate them. Like, you're worthless. So this is an opportune moment for a revolutionary campaign like this one. And I also want to say, even if we were to get just one Green into office, it could make a difference. Sorry, Frank, two. Even if we get 2 Greens into Congress, it could make a huge difference. My favorite example is Shama Sawan. She got elected to the city council in Seattle and single-handedly drove through huge policy wins, like a minimum wage at the time was the highest in the country and continues to be the highest in the country because she tied it to inflation, so it kept automatically going up. She also got the so-called Amazon tax, which raised the funds to build housing. One person, none of the other people on that city council, who, by the way, were all Democrats, none of those people on the city council wanted those bills to pass, but she scared them into voting for it by mobilizing their constituents, putting the fear of God into them, like, you're going to lose your seat if you don't do this. So it just takes one person, I think. We don't have democracy right now. Multiple studies have shown it objectively. What the constituents want doesn't affect the voting behavior of their representatives. In my opinion, the number one problem, the number one reason for this lack of democracy, for the lack of responsiveness from our elected representatives, is the campaign cash. That's not the only problem. It's not the only problem, but I see it as the biggest problem. It's not just at the federal level. I see it also at the local level. When I talk to activists about, well, why aren't some of these local leaders trying to stop the use of pesticides around schools that are giving the children brain cancer? They say, oh, well, they can't go up against big agriculture. Big agriculture is going to back their opponent, right? Outspend them, kick them out. So it's all throughout our country. But we can set a model, or we can follow the Mamdani model, apply it here, and inspire other people to do it. Well, actually, Gabe did it too.
Local level,
Right.
yep.
Yeah. And Gabe did it also by knocking doors. That's worth mentioning. So Gabe unseated an incumbent Republican, as he said, a Trump Republican. And how did he do it? By going and knocking on doors. And he found that a lot of these people were relieved that he wasn't a Democrat or a Republican, right?
Yeah, they were really, that wasn't easy for me.
Yeah, so I think actually some of these conservative areas are ripe for a green victory. I mean, look, taking down Jimmy Panetta in terms of the substance is trivial. I mean, this guy is almost like cartoonishly villainous.
Yeah, he's a Nepo baby.
Yep.
He is definitely a Nepo baby. Yeah, everybody knows he's got that job because of who his daddy is. We even had a speaker slip up and say his daddy's name on accident in this place, right? That's how he got that job. Yeah. I mean, on the issue of Gaza, it's already mentioned several times, but his top donor is the Israel lobby. One of the most shocking things to me that he's done is October 2024, so a year into the genocide, he flew to Israel, went to meet with Benjamin Netanyahu, stood next to him in his office and had a photo taken of himself.
That's what he does.
1 year into the genocide. He's proud of what he's doing, it seems. This campaign is going to be talking a lot about housing. I just want to mention Jimmy Panetta's solution for the housing crisis because I think it's so ridiculous and it shows where this man's head is. As you all know, nobody can afford a house here, or it's a real stretch to at least. His proposal is that if you lift the cap on the taxes that someone pays on profit when they sell a home up to $1 million, then that's going to free up housing supply. So that's his solution. It's like, won't anyone think of the tax bill for the people making $1 million in profit? That is not the kind of solution that we need in Congressional District 19. And I'm pretty sure the way he came up with that solution was going to dinner parties and talking to his friends. I'm pretty sure it was his donors telling him that we need tax breaks. Our campaign lays out a number of solutions on how we can make housing more affordable. I feel like I've gone on long enough. I end up thinking I'm talking for 30 seconds about housing and then 10 minutes goes by, so I'm not going to do it. But I just want to mention one idea I really like, which is, what if the minimum wage was tied to the cost of renting a one-bedroom apartment? Now, Shaba Sawant got that in Seattle for inflation, okay, but here in Congressional District 19, inflation isn't good enough. Over the past 30 years, property values have gone up at 6.5%, inflation has been like 2.5%. And consequently, everything's unaffordable. So we need to link it to housing, because that's the biggest expense most people have in a month, right? So let's tie it to that. Or you could vote for Jimmy Panetta, get tax breaks for millionaires. And of course, my campaign is also going to be talking about Medicare for all, free college, debt-free college, free child care, abolishing ICE, abolishing these detention centers. I really want us to focus on ending the use of pesticides, certainly next to schools. I think that's actually going to really resonate with a lot of people in Monterey County and southern Santa Cruz County. That's going to give us some real inroads in those communities. I want to see a moratorium on lithium-ion battery storage until we can better understand how to make that technology safe, and we need to explore other technologies. That's an issue that I think is going to resonate with people in Monterey County, in southern Santa Cruz County particularly. So, next steps. You need to follow our campaign accounts on social media, and you need to share our posts, okay? That actually matters. Like when people analyze how Mamdani won, that was one of the keys. So I know this is what people always tell you, but you actually need to do it. Like we actually need you to go follow our social media accounts. You can find them on our flyers, and you need to follow, and you need to like, and you need to repost. No matter what you have to do it. It actually really, really matters. We need volunteers to knock on doors, to make phone calls. That also is key to our success. We're ramping that up right now. It's going to cost us 10 cents per door in terms of the software that's going to coordinate all this. We don't know what our printing costs are going to be yet. We're kind of seeing how much we can raise before we design the brochure that we're going to be passing out. But if you go to our website, you can sign up to volunteer, and you can check that you're interested in door knocking, and Ashley or whoever becomes our volunteer coordinator will reach out to you. And as Ashley mentioned, we're going to be having regular, I think monthly, Zoom calls with our volunteers to make sure people feel connected to the campaign and know what they can do next. So that's really important. People need to be attending that. These are, I guess some people call them palm cards. They're pretty high quality, you know, it's a thick paperweight, you know, it looks professional, it looks legit, but it outlines our main policy points, and then on the back it's got a nice map of the district, because a lot of people don't know what their congressional district is, so that you can just show them the back of the card. There's also a QR code so that people can scan it and go to our website. So, you know, take a stack of these, give them to your acquaintances, give them to your friends. Like, it's actually going to matter. This is another case where I'm like, you have to do it. You actually have to do this. Because if we're going to win, it's going to be through things like that. But the last thing that I want to ask for is help seeking endorsements, particularly from organizations. I think those really matter to a lot of voters. They want to go to that endorsement page and they want to see some logos that they recognize. So if you're a member of an organization, why don't you start reaching out to their leadership and let them know that you're interested in them endorsing me, not Jimmy Panetta. And even before you do that, you could reach out to Ashley and let them know what kind of organization it is, and maybe we could help as a campaign arm you with some of the facts so that you can make a compelling argument for why you should be endorsing this they should be endorsing this campaign. It is absolutely critical that we think long-term about organizing this district. It doesn't matter if I lose or win. Either way, it needs to be organized. Right now, we're very, very atomized. We're mostly organized at the county level, at most. That vigil group I was telling you about, I tried getting all 4 counties to coordinate. I wanted to do like, do you remember that New York teleporter thing, video teleporter thing to Ireland? Yeah, I thought we could do that. And it just fell apart because the counties didn't know how to work together. So as through this campaign, I really hope that we can figure out a way to create some lasting infrastructure in the district, because we're either going to be fighting Jimmy Panetta next time, or we're going to be fending off whatever those ghouls behind him put up against me. Either way, we're going to need this organization. When I ran last time, I mean, it was basically just my wife and me, and we did a pretty fantastic job. I mean, you gotta say. Yeah, so thanks to my wife, who's here tonight. I think probably all the other
She has a name.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you wanted people to know your name. Okay. Alex, yeah.
Hi, Alex. Thank you.
So it was basically just Alex and me, and we've got a 3-year-old, and so he was like a little over 1 at the time, and like when we were able to finally put him to bed, we would work together on the website or work together on flyers or whatever. And it's really incredible what we achieved. Now think about what we're going to do. We've got Ashley, we've got Gabe, we're already connected to US AMPAC and to MAA, Like, this is going to be real. This is going to be a real challenge.
You've got us, Sean. You've got us.
We've got the people. Yeah. This ends the speech portion of the program.
the county for bringing snacks. So grab some snacks, some drinks, some swag, some merch that you can pass out. And thank you so much to our speakers and everybody that's here that made the drive. And please stick around and let's mingle, let's learn a little bit more and enjoy the rest of the evening together. Because now we can relax a little bit. All right, let's mingle.